Good morning, friends. Welcome back. Today we are going to discuss power and speed models part 2. Yet we discuss about the power and speed models, why the study of power and speed models are required, and what are the road forces are there that act on the bicycles or any vehicles when we ride or when it is moved. Among that force or a force, we discuss the aerodynamic drag. So we discussed this aerodynamic drag in the last lectures, where the power required to overcome the aerodynamic drag is 1 half rho vs square into cd into a into vg. So in this we only consider the area of vehicles along with the riders. But if you look, when you ride a bicycle at some high speed, the spoke of rotating wheel also produce the aerodynamic drag. When we ride a bicycle at some high speed or a moderate speeds, the spoke of rotating wheel also produce the aerodynamic drag. Large number of round spokes on a small diameter wheels are poorest. Means large number of spokes, more the aerodynamic drag, more power required to overcome the aerodynamic drag. While disc or aerospace spoke vehicles are much better. So if you look at any high-end bicycles, instead of many fork or a many round spoke in a wheel, they have the only spoke wheel, only few 5 or 6 spokes are there. So the easiest way to include the effort of wheel rotation on a overall drag is to define a drag area of wheels. So that is known as the ADW, means area of drag wheels, and this term is what analogous to the vehicle drag area AD, but applies strictly to the drag force due to the wheel rotations. So if you look for the counting purpose, so the significance of this term is small, means aerodynamic drag generated due to the rotating wheels, a spoke of rotating wheel is small, but for many analysis and for calculating it can be omitted with little consequence. But when high accuracy is required, when you predict the likelihood of a world records time or in a world competitions, the term should be included in the power equation. So how we can add it? So you can look at this equation. This is what drag power due to the wheel rotation is PdV is equal to 1 half rho v square, means rho vs square into AdW into Vg. This is what drag power due to the wheel rotations. So we have now two drag. One is what due to the vehicle and rider area, and this is one due to the wheel rotations, means due to the rotating wheel area. So we add these two, sum of this drag power due to wheel rotation and drag power due to the vehicle and rider area. So we will get this equation. This is what total aerodynamic drag power P arrow is equal to 1 half rho vs square into CD into A plus AdW into Veg. So we sum up both the area over here. So we will get final equation is what P arrow is equal to 1 half rho vs square into CD into A plus AdV into Vg. But as you seen that we can for a small analysis we can omit the AdW, but for like world records or any competitions we must add it to get the perfectly predictions of a performance of a bicycle, so that we can make a perfect design of bicycles. Now we move to one more, that is the rolling resistance. So it's also known as the rolling frictions. So when you move or any object, a steady object move in a forward direction, there is always a resistance which opposes the movement of motion. So when the applied force is more than the friction or resistance, it can be moved. So same principle can be applied over here. You can look at this. There are 2 points of contact, one at this front wheel and one at the rear wheel. From here to crank you apply the power. This is what gravity is known as the m into g. Here we have the air resistance. This is normal force to the surface, and this is what applied force that you apply through the crank. So when you move, a friction force always develop opposite to the movement of directions. So as we are aware that simple friction formula and simple friction concept same applied over here. So rolling resistance is often the dominant retarding force for low speed, a NOB, or low pressure tires on a soft surfaces. A NOB means uneven surfaces. The power lost to rolling resistance depends on the load on the wheel, and on the tire surface property including the tire constructions, a pressure, a size, a road surface, and a possibly a vehicle speed. So if you look at the high-end bicycles or competitive bicycles, the tires are too thin to ride, so that friction force will be the minimum, so that we can get a more speed with a less power. But if you same times you look at the mountain bicycles or off-track bicycles, where we does not require a speed, but what we require, we need to be stay firm with the grounds. So there we have the larger diameter or larger like texture tire, so that we have the more friction, so we can stick with the uneven or a rough surfaces. So that depends on which kind of bicycles you are driving, which kind of competition is there, we'll select the tire constructions. You can look at like a good air means tire with filled air, they have the point contact, or mainly we can say that a slight contact are there. But if your tire is flat or there is no pressure, then a more area is in contact with the surfaces, hence we require the more power to overcome the rolling resistance. So here you can, like, this is the equations. We know friction force F is equal to what, mu into N. So what is the power, a force required to work, so that F into V will get the power over here. So this is your friction force into this is your speed of a vehicles, or you can say the speed. So same equations we use in defining the friction. F is equal to what, mu into N. So mu is a coefficient of frictions. Here in our case CRR is the coefficient of rolling resistance, or you can say the coefficient of frictions, mg. So mu n is what, a normal force. So here you can see in the figure that a bicycle has some gradient, but if you look at this figure, there is no gradient. So bicycle is on a flat surfaces. So what is the normal force, is equal to the gravity. Gravity force is how much, mg. Clear? So based on that we can derive the equation for rolling resistance. So the component of load normal to the road is used for the rolling resistance calculations. So power required to overcome the rolling resistance is given by the PRR is equal to F into mu into V. So F is what, mg cos theta, or you can say this alpha. So cos theta or cos alpha is tan inverse Z. What is tan inverse Z? I'll explain. Into CRR, that is a mu into vehicle speed, where Z is the gradient of road, CRR is the coefficient of rolling resistance, and mg is the vehicle weight. Now see, what is G? G and alpha is not the same. So if you look at this particular figure, you can look at this figure. The slope is increasing when you move further by the distances. This distance is increasing when you move by this direction. That is known as the gradient. Gradient means a slope of a road. So here you can look at this case. If this is my angle theta, then what is my gradient? That delta H by delta D, or you can say that H by D. So H by D is what? My gradient. So if you look at this, if you want to find out this particular angle theta, then what is it? So tan theta is equal to H by D. So theta is equal to tan inverse of H by D. So where a G is the gradient, which is what? A delta H by delta D, or H by D. So I hope you understand what is the this particular term significance. This is nothing but mg cos theta. But here what? Or mg cos alpha. What is alpha? So it is tan inverse of G. G is what? A gradient means a height divided by the base. Clear? So this is what, a power required to overcome the rolling resistance, which was given by the mg cos tan inverse Z into CRR into Vg, where Z is the gradient of road, CRR is equal to the coefficient of rolling resistance, and mg is the vehicle weight. But if you see that if you neglect the effect of gradient when there is a very small gradient is there, or if you are riding on a flat surfaces, then this term can be, cos theta can be omitted. So what we simply get is F is equal to, power is equal to mu, that is CRR into mg into velocity. So this is nothing but about mg CRR is your friction force multiplied with the wheel of speed of the vehicles. Your speed increase, resistance is increase. Clear? So this is about the, we can say about the rolling resistance, or a power required to overcome the rolling resistance. I hope this clear. Now we will move to one more friction force, or one more power that affect the movement of vehicle is friction losses in wheel bearings. Because you know that if you look at the crank or if you look at the wheels, all are connected to the bearing with the frame. So always there is a little, but there is always a small friction losses is there in the wheel bearings. So power loss to friction in wheel bearings is generally small and for many analysis can be neglected, but for best accuracy in performance predictions the term should be included. The bearing losses depend strongly on the wheel diameters. Larger the wheel, rotate more slowly for a given road than do a smaller wheel. So if you look at this figure, so these are equations. A power loss to bearing friction per wheel is given by the PBF is equal to 0.030 by D plus 0.006 by pi d square into Vg whole multiply with the velocity of bicycles or velocity of grams. So if you look at that, this power is what inversely proportional to the diameter. So larger the diameter, smaller the friction loss. Smaller the wheel, larger the friction loss. Where D is the diameter of wheel diameter in meters and Vg is the given in the meter per second. Because if you use the roller bearings, if you use the ball bearings, all depends on that. The friction loss will be vary, but it's small in parameters or the value. We move to one more change in potential energy. Because when you climb a steep grade, easily becomes a dominant retarding force on a cyclist, because you have to apply more force when we ride on a steep grade, as most riders have experienced. So it also strictly depends on the vehicle weight, rate of ascents, and obviously the rate of ascent is given by the that gradient of a road. So if you look at this figure, frictions. So this is what you apply the force. This is what you get. A normal force is because of the frictions, that will get mu into n, and one is what we apply the force. So that is what mg sin theta into vg. Clear? So F is what mg sin theta into vg is the velocity of a ground. So here what theta is equal to what, tan inverse of g, as we already discussed in the friction loss because of the rolling resistance. Similar apply over here. So power loss due to the potential energy is mg into sin theta into vg, where theta is equal to tan inverse of g, where g is the gradient of a road. So for grade less than 10%, sin tan inverse g is equal to g. So delta P is equal to mg into g into vg is a good approximations. 10% means say 1 to 10 ratio. Means 1 change in height for the 10 unit change in that base or distance. So that is what 1 by 10, it is 0.1 multiply with the 100, so we will get the 10%. Changes in a kinetic energy, again this also play a role when you change your speed or when you higher or lower your speed. Always a change in kinetic energy will take place. Because of that, there is some power loss will be there. So kinetic energy changes whenever the vehicle velocity changes. The average power required to change the speed in the change in kinetic energy, that is divided by the times required for the acceleration or deaccelerations. That is what delta Ke divided by delta T. So average power due to change in kinetic energy are is equal to what? Same delta Ke change in kinetic energy. What is that? Is what 1 half mv square. So here what I take is m plus c1, where c1 is the inertia of a drivetrain and the vehicle, because our mass is what ultimately, meaning mass is rotating as wheel and cranks are rotating. So I add the inertia into our main mass, that is the mass of the bicycles including rider. So 1 half mv square, v square means change in velocity, so v final minus v initial divided by delta t, so t final minus t. So that is what a power loss in the change in kinetic energy, that is 1 half m c1 m plus c1 square into vf square minus vi square divided by tfi minus t. So the equation is useful if you know the initial and final speed and the time interval for acceleration. If you don't know the initial and final speed and the accelerations, will like time interval for accelerations, we can easily calculate the instantaneous power with speed vg and the acceleration ax, that is given by the m plus c1 into ax into vg. So P change in kinetic energy is equal to what? M plus c1 into ax into vg, where c1 is the inertia of weight or inertia of drivetrain and the wheels. So these are our final power models. So this is what power loss due to aerodynamic drag, 1 half rho v square into cd into a plus adw into vg. Power because loss because of the rolling resistance, mg crr into vg, or mg cos tan inverse g into crr into vg. PBF because of the bearing friction is given by this. Here you can look at this equation. This is df and dr. So dr means a rolling or a rear wheel, and df means a front wheel. So both diameters are different, then this can be changed. If both the diameters are same, then we can multiply simply with the 2, because we have two different diameters, we have two different different wheels, so we have two different bearing frictions. Change in potential energy mg into g into vg. If there is a significant gradient, then mg into sine tan inverse g into vg. And change in kinetic energy m plus c1 into ax into vg, or you can say that 1 half m plus c1 into vf square minus vi square divided by tfi minus t, if time and velocity is known. So with the help of these power models, we are going to solve this particular examples. You can read the statement. So a cyclist on a recumbent bicycle travels south 180 at 8 degree, 180 degree at 8 meter per second. The wind is from the southeast 150 degree at 5 meter per second. The drag area is AF into CD is given as a 0.4 meters square. The road is rough asphalt with the coefficient of rolling resistance is given 0.01. The combined mass of the rider and bicycle is given as the 90 kg. The inertia coefficient for 25 622 wheels and the crank is given C1 is equal to 2.1 kg, and the driver turn efficiency is approximately 95%. Find the power the cyclist must expend to maintain his speeds. He is riding at the 8 meter per second. How much additional power is required if rider maintains speed on slight 1% upgrade? How much additional power will be required to accelerate 10 meter per second in a 15 second on a ground levels? So these things we have to find out. First we will discuss what is two wheels 25 622. It means that base circle diameter is 622 and width of wheel is 25. So we multiply width of wheel with 2 because we have bottom and top, plus base diameter, that will give the diameter of final wheel. That is what 622 plus 2 into 25 is equal to given as the 672. Clear? So solve this example. So what we will see first? We will see first dW and dB. dW is what? Wind direction, that is what 150 degree, while direction of bicycle is what 180. So first we will find out the cross weight and head weight components. So as we need to find out the power required to maintain the speed, that is what a P total is equal to P arrow plus P kinetic energy plus P potential energy plus P RR plus P BF. So first we will find out the P arrow. So you can look at this equation. P arrow is equal to 1 half rho into Vs square into CD into A plus CdW into Vg. So here rho is given 1.226 by 2. Now we need to find out the VH. What is VH? So VH is what? Vg plus Vw into cos dW minus dB. So we'll get some value of VH over here. So we put that value of VH into this. Then as wheel area is not given, a spoke area is not given, so we will omit that terms. So simply we will take only CD into A into Vg. So CD into A is given and velocity vehicle speed 8 meter per second is given. So based on that we will calculate the P arrow. Then power required to overcome the rolling resistance, that is mg into CRR into Vg, because it is on the flat surfaces, there is no any gradient is given. So m is given 90, mg into 9.81 into CRR is given how much? 0.01 into 8, so we will get 70.6 kilowatt. Bearing friction results in a power loss. So we will have a diameter, that is what 672 mm. So we have two wheels but all are having the equal diameter, so we'll multiply bearing power friction with 2 because we have to calculate for two wheels. So we'll get that based on this particular equations. When you get these equations, if you look at, because almost all are the fractions and divide by again that fraction, so we'll get a very less power, so which can be neglected, but for accuracy we can keep it. There is no change in kinetic energy as of now because we need to find out the power cyclist must equal expand to maintain its speed. So no change in kinetic energy, even no change in the potential energy because our grade are same. So we omit that. So we calculate three power PRO, PRR and PBF. So our total power required to maintain the speed is what? 1 divided by N, as if we have to divide it by the efficiency, into PRO plus PRR into PWB. So efficiency is given 95, so 1 upon 0.95 into PRO plus PRR plus BF, or you can say the wheel bearings. So we'll get certain amounts of power for that. So a healthy male requires this much amount of power to maintain the speed. So you'll get the solved example in a via PDF. A healthy adult male could maintain this power level for more than a minute, while an elite cyclist could maintain this power for more than an hour. That depends on their cycling skills and stamina. If adder maintains speed while climbing at slightly 1% of grade, it means that now we are adding the grade or a slope to the bicycle riding. Then power increase due to change in potential energy is mg into g into vg, because we will not calculate that grade effect because grade is what? Less than the 10%. So we'll simply multiply with the grade. So 90 is your mass into 9.81 into grade is given 1% of 0.01 into vehicle speed is 8. So we'll get something value. So when you ride on a 1% grade and to maintain the same speeds, then we need to add the delta PE into the P total also. So 1/2, now what will happen? 1 upon efficiency into PRO plus PRR into PWB. So this much amount of power is required to maintain the speed. Back on the ground, the rider accelerate to 10 meter per second in a 15 seconds. So speed is given from 8 to 10, it is changing, and time is what? 0 to 15. Then we can use this equation to calculate the additional power. That is what? PKE 1/2 m plus C1 into Vf square minus Va square divided by TFI into T. 1/2 m is given 90. C1 is inertia of weight is given over here 2.1 kg. Into Vf is final velocity is 10, initial velocity is 8 because we are changing from 8 to 10, divided by time is what? Within a 15 seconds, so 0 to 15 means 15 minus 0. So we'll get some amount of power that we add to the P total. So it brings that much amount of power we require to ride to increase the speed from 8 to 10 meter per second. But this could be for a short times. So this is about how to calculate power required to achieve the specified target. Now we move to the cubic power models. We derive this cubic power model is same from the polynomial power model that we discussed in the previous slides. So each of the terms in a power model is a polynomial function of a ground speed Vg. The aerodynamic drive terms are cubic with respect to the speed, while other terms are linear or quadratic. If you look at this figure, this equation, so here only we have in terms of speed Vg into V, or you can say V into V, V square into V, so V cube. Rest of items are the linear terms or quadratic terms. So a polynomial model is convenient for accessing the speed power requirement. Substituting these head-weight components in a power model and inserting these terms into generic road power formula gives a cubic polynomial expressions for a power required as a function of speed. So how we'll convert? We'll see in this figure. So this is our polynomial power functions. P total is equal to 1/2 n P arrow plus PRR plus PWB plus P delta KE plus P delta PE, and this is our head wind component. VH is equal to VG plus VW into cos W minus dB. Here you look, all speed are what? Bicycle speed except this first aerodynamic drag, where we have the equation in terms of the VH and VG. So what base I can do is I can like put these VH equations into this, so this my terms become automatically cubical terms, so that I can write my P total equation in this way: C1 into Vg cube plus C2 into Vg square plus C3 into Vg. So I convert our polynomial equation into the cubic power model. This will give a most effective solutions for predicting the various performance of a bicycles. So what is C1, C2 and C3 are the coefficient derived from these particular equations. Now you look at these equations. We replace VH over here. So 1/2 rho into Vg plus Vw cos W minus dB whole square into CD into A plus CDW into VG. Now this into, so this is what A, this is your what B. So what is what A plus B whole square is? A square plus 2AB plus B square. So first term will be what? Vg square plus Vg into Vw cos dW minus dB plus this whole terms square, and all multiply with these 3. So understand, I hope you understand that here we have one terms Vg square and this Vg will multiply, so it becomes the Vg cube. Clear? So we put all value over here, then we do the summation of this, and then we separate the terms square, cube and simple. So we will get this 3, C1 is equal to rho upon 2n, CD into A plus ADW, C2 is equal to these terms and C3 is equal to these terms. So these are our cubic terms, these are our quadratic terms, and these are our linear terms. So we convert our polynomial model into the cubic power models. So application of power models, why these power models are required. So vehicle designers can use the power model to assess the effect of design changes on a vehicle performance. For example, the effect of different tires on a performance can be evaluated if the rolling resistance coefficient and tire mass are known. Clear? So we can calculate the effect of different tires on a performance can be measured, as the different tire size are having the rolling resistance coefficient and the mass tires are there. Then design decision can be made based on the quantity performance prediction rather than the speculations. Many design decisions involve the trade-off between the performance and cost. So we need to maintain the proper balance between the performance and cost, because higher the performance, higher the bicycle cost. So power model can provide a guidance as to where money is best invested in order to achieve the correct balance of a cost and the performance. Design concept for entire vehicles or for components can be evaluated and compared early in the design cycles. Power models are also commonly used to predict a cycling performance. Coaches and athletes use the power model to predict a performance for competitive events such as time trials and the track races. So these are the applications where we have to study the power models, and it can be beneficial to us. Based on the cubic power models, we will see these examples. So a cyclist will attempt an hour time trial in a streamlined recumbent bicycles on an indoor track. Previous tests have shown that a cyclist can maintain a 350 watt for 1 hour. So the power is given, that how much power a cyclist can give to the bicycles and maintain for the 1 hour. Drag coefficient of vehicle is given 0.25 with the frontal area of 0.35 meter square. So CD is given and area is given. The drag area of spoke is 0.1 meter per square. Here the drag area of spoke is also given, that is what ADW. The coefficient of rolling resistance over the smooth track surface is 0.002, that is what mu RR is given. Then total mass of vehicle and rider is given 95 kg. The inertia coefficient C1 is given 3.8 kg. The vehicle used 23, 622 rear tire and 28, 451 front tire. The travel and efficiency is 95%. How far the cyclist is expected to ride in a 1 hour. So here in this what power is given, that a cyclist can give this much amount of power. What we need to calculate? We need to calculate the VG, means speed. How much, means to overcome all the losses with given power, how much speed we can be maintain, or how much I can ride in a 1 hour. That we can see in this example. So from where you will start. So as of now we have we are going to use these cubic models. So this is what P total, that is given 350 is equal to C1 into Vg cube plus C2 into Vg square plus C3 into Vg. So we need to calculate C1, C2 and C3. So rho is given, n is given, CD into A is given, and EDW is given. Same all parameters were given over here. So based on that, we'll calculate C1, C2, and C3. And all value will put over here. So what you will get the terms Vg, because C1 is known, C2 is known, C3 is known, P total is known, so only Vg is unknown. So based on solving these equations, we will get some values for the velocity of a bicycles. So if you got Vg, and so our Vg may be a meter per second or maybe a kilometer per hour, and so with this much amount of power you can achieve power is again for 1 hour he can maintain the 350 power. So for 1 second also he maintain the 350 watt power. Clear? So either we have the kilometer per hour speed or meter per second speeds, multiply with the hour or multiply with the meter per seconds. What you will get the total distance that he can be travel. So in this example our answer is 61.3 kilometers. The solved example will be given to you shortly. So I hope you clear the powers and speed models for calculating the amount of powers required to ride the bicycles or to check the performance over the design for the bicycles. For any query you can shoot me a mail on my mail ID. I'll revert you back. Thank you.